as coaches, you got to do a good job of keeping your team under control, get everybody to the locker room, because not only is that going to affect this game, there's a chance that it very well could affect next game for Florida.
Yeah, look, it was some punches thrown, Dari, and as I go back and look at this thing over and over, somebody's going to get suspended. You're right. I got to back off of that. And it's just unfortunate. And as players, you have to be taught, before we get into this, hitting somebody with a helmet on is not the smartest thing to do. We are all taught that. We all know better than that. You can go to that line, but you cannot cross that line. It's just like you can't swing a helmet. There's no reason to throw punches at another person's helmet, because all it does is hurt you in the end. All it's going to do is break a hand or do something bad. Nothing good ever happens from these things. And it's just unfortunate. Kyle Trask and all these guys are saying that their team came together because of it. I wish you would have came together before all that happened and say, hey, let's get our guys back. Don't allow your guys to get into it. This game means too much in front of us. We got way too many. We got bigger things to do than fight Missouri at halftime.
I think Dan's going to look at that probably and wish he could have that little window of time back, because I agree with you, CD. You know, as a coach right now, the first thing you tell your players is if you think something's going to break out or is breaking out on the field, you don't go out there.
Yep.
That's the first thing you tell your players, right? And if one player just happened to run out there, he's going to get just absolutely shellacked by the coach because he ran out there against your will and what you're supposed to be doing. And it appeared that Dan almost was the first guy out there. Even he seemed to be knowledgeable of it when some of the offensive linemen weren't even, aware of it because they were blocking. So, I don't know, but the bottom line is, like we talked about, both sides got it fixed. That was the main event. You hate to see it in college football. There's no place for it. But it happens. It's only worse if you don't get it under control.
When you see somebody from the sideline, I would imagine, in a dead sprint to the middle of the field, whether it's a player or a coach, your antenna goes up, right? Adrenaline starts to pump, and that potentially is ultimately what happened. To your point, you said somebody's going to get suspended. We don't know that. That's for the league to try to figure that out. But as of now, there's been no determination as to what happens as it pertains to their next games. Okay, Marty and McGee on Wednesday. That Florida-Georgia game, one of the big games nationally. You know those guys will spend plenty of time, as only they can, getting you ready their way for that. Still ahead, a first. It is a first, and it involves Chiz and Saturday Studs. That you down there, Chiz?
We can skip that part, can't we?
Football, they let him free release. Poles' feet are completely out of position, and Schwartz runs right by him. It's an easy throw for Bo Nix, as you talked about earlier. I don't even think Nix could have missed him in that instance, but complete lack of recognition, lack of communication, and certainly lack of execution.
Go to coach first, because I can't talk about these DBs, how bad they look on this. It's just frustrating.
You see it every week. Okay, so the communication issues, and I'll give you the 91-yard touchdown as an example. It looked like they started with a double team, okay? A double team means there's a guy over at the top and a guy underneath. But they stayed side by side on the double team, and the fastest guy in college football ran right by him. You saw that CD pointed out, there's no communication on the jet sweep, so that means there's no edge to the defense. I see guys not communicating. The two DBs, they're on the same levels. That's day one. You know that, Roman, being a DB. You always have to stagger to be able to get yourself out of pick situations. It just seems like every week these same issues pop up. You would think by game 5 that some of these things would be sorted out, Roman, but they're not sorted out because they keep rearing their ugly head. That's what I see.
They are a bunch of individual contractors. That means I got my business, you got your business, you have your business, and nobody's talking working together at all. The communication, the lack of consistency. You have too much talent on the outside of that LSU defense to give up big plays in the pass game at the rate that they do it. That means, I don't know, you're either coaching it or allowing it to happen. And that is what I'm seeing week after week when these things continue to show up every week. It's not due to talent or lack thereof. It is due to execution and communication on the back end of this defense.
The biggest issue with what you said is lack of consistency, and I would argue that. They're very consistent. They're consistently bad. And that's obviously an issue. Oh, no big deal. Alabama's passing game comes to town in 2 weeks, and that's your next game. Good luck. Get it fixed. But there's a lot to get fixed. All right. This was ugly. End of the Florida-Missouri first half. Big hit on Kyle Trask. It was definitely late. Was it dirty? Use your judgment. Most of what you're watching here, though, was dirty. 3 players ejected. After the game, so many questions to answer. Why not bring in Darth Vader to start?
I got told they hit him late. And you know what? I mean, our guys are going to defend their quarterback. And I think our guys started to do that. And then I think, unfortunately, you're at a play where, if that's a late hit and there's pushing and shoving and it was going to be like 4th down and we had to punt or one of those situations, it's one thing. But when the teams are leaving the field, you have kind of both teams running off the field at the same time. I think it kept growing and growing. We're trying to push guys back. And, unfortunately, it kind of, trying to get in the middle, get the officials to get in the middle, trying to get them to get in the middle, get us in the middle, get their team off, our team off. And, but everyone's running to the locker room and it kind of keeps spilling down that way. So it's a really unfortunate situation. It's not something we condone, obviously. It's not something that you really want to see in the game.
I think that was a great moment for this team. We really came together in the locker room. We just had each other's back. We're not going to take things like that out here. So, we really just came together, and there was a lot of energy coming out of the locker room.
I was watching, my eyes were on the ball. We played the ball. Ball was knocked away. I started running in and saw one of their coaches on our hash yelling at our guys, and then I saw more of their players join in. Then our players joined in, and we got to keep our guys from joining in. We got to keep our guys from the sideline. It's an ugly scene. It's an ugly scene for football. It's an ugly scene for college football, and I'm not proud of it. And I don't know who started it, but we got to figure it out. We got to get it fixed. Like I said, it's disappointing.
First of all, props to Dan Mullen for wearing his mask, right?
Yeah.
On Halloween. You hear him say that. We saw the video right after the hit.
And I think the thing that we all know as players and as coaches, your team's going to follow the lead that your coach and the example they say. It looked like, and I don't blame him for being upset. It should have been a late hit. It should have been some sort of penalty there. But when he ran out to the middle of the field, I think that kind of incited things a little bit. And I think everybody kind of joined in.